73 years since independence, and yet there is no policy framework to catalyze private sector participation in the vital rental housing group. To put the market size into context, as per a research by Knight Frank India, there are 22 million households in our country. Having said that, the government housing policies has traditionally focused mainly around home ownership. This lack of policy interventions has proved to be a significant deterrent in the creation of rental housing stock. India suffers from a massive housing shortage, yet, according to the 2011 census, over 11 million houses remain vacant in urban areas. There are a number of factors behind this shocking statistic: low rental yield, poor maintenance of vacant stock, forceful possession, the dilapidated state of buildings, and more importantly, a lack of incentives. There's a big gap in the market as much of the rental process in India is still physical and not digital. Let's now take a closer look at how the Indian rental property market works. Step 1. This is the stage when a renter is starting off and wants to have a list of properties that come under the preference criteria. They either commonly use web portals or approach a local broker. At this stage, it is around 70% digital and 30% physical. Step 2. From having a wider list, the renter starts to shortlist the properties. This is based on individual preference and their needs. Step 3. The renter registers themselves for viewings. Again, this is done either online or through their property broker. We are still looking at 70% digital and 30% physical at this point. Step 4. The broker now contacts the renters and starts to schedule viewings. Quite critical at this stage. Step 5. The renter has a physical viewing of the property. Now, even if 360-degree view online is available, the preference is to physically view it in majority of the cases. It's a split of 98% physical and 2% digital at this stage. Step 6. The renter inquires about the nitty-gritties, and there's always several of them. Step 7. This is the stage where a renter starts to negotiate a favorable rent with the landlord through their broker. Step 8. Once a rental figure is agreed, the property is reserved. Step 9. At this stage, the renter pays half of the broker commission. In nearly 90% of the cases, the preference seems to be cash, with the remainder done through digital means. Step 10. The renter meets the landlord to discuss details of his tenancy or her tenancy. It's 100% physical at this stage. Step 11. The broker arranges the contract signing as soon as renter verification is complete. At this stage, it's 95% physical and 5% digital. Step 12. The renter pays rent and the deposit to the landlord or broker. It is highly likely the payment process is 70% digital and 30% physical at this stage. And finally, step 13, the move-in is agreed. It's 100% physical. As you can see, at critical junctures, there is only a smaller percentage leaning towards the digital. The reality is that, apart from the first property search step, most of us Indians will revert to the traditional process as the experience is far from seamless. This is an area where the market requires a better renter experience. So how has PropTech made an impact on the Indian real estate sector this year? Let's look at some of the headlines. In 2020, we have seen virtual tours and online launches gain traction. In March, No Broker launched video walkthroughs and soon noticed a spike in interest from both owners and tenants. They followed that up in April by raising $30 million as a Series D round. This was led by American private equity firm General Atlantic. Way to go, No Broker. That was a phenomenal achievement. We then had Multi-Living Technologies implementing an AI-powered chatbot on their platform to offer information that was tailored to the customer's needs. As Multi-Living CEO Pankaj Singh explained, leveraging machine learning, we have been able to suggest the best location for a customer rather than seeking information on location, societies, and other traditional parameters. Startups such as No Broker and Nestaway have both been creating easier ways to pay rent using the unified payments interface. Until now, a heavily cash-dependent process, renters have wholeheartedly embraced digital rent payments, with nearly rupees 50 crore of rent paid through the No Broker Pay platform in its first 6 months alone. As Akhil Gupta, co-founder of No Broker, explained, for us, the major mode of payment is by credit card, as almost 85% of payments are being done through it. Now, let us see the key trends in the real estate industry today. So where are we now in the Indian real estate sector? And where are we going? Well, in 2019, the real estate sector witnessed an annual rise of 170%, attracting some $1 billion in investment. Around 10 million people migrate to our cities every year, which looks set to continue due to the global phenomenon of increasing urbanization. To add to that, the size of the co-living market across India's top 30 cities is expected to double in the next 5 years, from nearly $7 billion today to almost $14 billion in 2025. So far, so good. But what about the pressure points in the Indian rental property sector? From the renter's perspective, there's a lack of regulation. There's very little transparency in transactions due to the presence of middlemen and, in some cases, shady brokers. Landlords' descriptions of the properties often portray them more positively than the actual reality. Renting doesn't feel secure anymore. There are difficulties getting their deposits back. There's a threat of eviction. And when the renters do leave, they're made to pay unfair deductions. There's also a concern about data usage too. For starters, renters often face continual digital harassment. Equally, they may also worry about where else their personal data is ending up. And when it comes to landlords, they struggle too. They struggle when tenants don't pay rent on time, or in some cases not at all. It's easy for bad tenants to slip through the screening process and then break the rules. When a building has a bad reputation, it affects the landlord too. They have to deal with their tenants disturbing their neighbors. They suffer when a building has a high tenant turnover rate because of maintenance issues. They may face requests for compensation when long-term tenants leave a property. The informal nature of many rental contract renewals can lead to issues about rental agreements later on. So how can we tackle the problems and make the most of the opportunities in Indian real estate sector, and particularly when it comes to a rental property? Here's Victara, our founder and CTO, to tell us more.
First of all, let's take a high-level view of the opportunities available in India's real estate sector. The sector is expected to contribute 13% of the country's GDP by 2025 and reach a market size of $1 trillion by 2030. Growing foreign direct investment in India is bringing more transparency and accountability. Due diligence is taking centre stage at many real estate development companies in order to keep investors on board. According to the IMF's latest estimates, India's residential rental market is worth more than $20 billion, of which 68%, or $13.5 billion, is in urban areas. The largely informal nature of the rental housing market makes it tough to arrive at the actual market size. That's despite rental property potentially being a key tool in tackling India's huge housing shortage. 78% of vacant houses in the 2011 census are in just 10 states and union territories. Imagine the potential of that 78%, or over 8.5 million homes being brought back into the rental property market. So, moving on to the digital opportunities, what are they? And what do they look like? Well, let's look at the current rental process again. And now let's look at how it could look with increased digitisation. The Propiti platform can handle property search and shortlisting for the renter. It can take care of registration for the renter, the broker and the landlord, all in the same online place. Enable the renter to schedule virtual or physical viewings through the portal. Host the renter, broker and landlord's negotiations. If agreement is reached, it can confirm the reservation, speed up tenant verification to just 2 or 3 days, pay broker commission if there's a broker involved, handle digital agreement signing and the renter paying their rent and deposit, and also schedule key handover and move in. What would that mean to renters? The process would be much easier, faster, transparent. As things stand, the Indian rental application process takes an absolute minimum of 10 days. It involves travelling between several locations and extensive human interaction, which is risky in the middle of a pandemic. Our tech platform eliminates or absolutely minimises contact between the different parties, supporting anti-COVID measures. In addition, it makes the rental process far safer for women. In practical terms, if we think about a typical renter trying to view 5 properties in one place, say Gurugram, how long would that take? Well, easily a whole day, if the viewings were physical, with most of that time being spent in traffic. Our process could easily shave a whole week off the rental application process, making it just 2 to 3 days long in total. More importantly, the process is completely transparent. All information is recorded digitally, protecting all the parties involved. Providers would have to abide by data usage limitations to protect the renter's personal information and prevent harassment. And renters would be able to trust property descriptions, as part of the deal is that landlord reviews are publicly visible. For portal owners, imagine being able to create a powerful platform that hosts India's largest property audience, nearly 22 million rented households, plus a whole load more access to scalable, high-volume property intelligence data about the rental sector would be easy. This has been impossible until now. There would be a far better understanding of the size of the market and of renter demographics, enabling better product segmentation in time. There would be significant opportunities to monetize the process with third-party suppliers, like utilities, insurance providers, removal firms. On top of that, there could be advertising revenues coming in, helping to offset running costs. Creating a platform for renters would enable closer collaboration between investors, property developers, and government. It would transform the mindset of Indians and bringing a completely new way of renting. What about developers? Well, there's a massive trend in the Indian rental market towards co-living. The young, socially mobile workforce who traditionally would have lived in paying guest accommodation are increasingly preferring co-living properties instead. The co-living market across India's top 30 cities is expected to more than double to reach nearly $14 billion by 2025, from its current size of $6.67 billion. A seamless tech platform that can take applicants through the entire rental process will help developers to de-risk their investments. As for portal owners, access to great data will be the key benefit for developers and investors. Concrete data and a better understanding of the market, its size, and end users will enable better decision making about property developments. Over 50 funding events, Indian PropTech companies have brought in just under $1.5 billion. China, with just 3 more individual funding events than India, has raised over $10 billion. So what does that tell us? While India's PropTech investment scene is certainly very active, significantly less money is being invested during each event. It's a common pattern. India is an emerging market with limitless opportunity, but the market remains largely untested by the PropTech ecosystem. So, while investors know that there is imminent growth, they haven't yet got the confidence, perhaps due to the lack of data, to commit the large sums we see invested elsewhere in the world. How about governmental institutions? Technology can bring the ultimate transformation here that will help India to leapfrog and fully accelerate its digital agenda. It will bring much needed transparency facilitate the mobility of internal and external talent, and draw attention to where reform and regulation needs updating. The unprecedented market intelligence from tech platforms will inform new policies for the large rental community that has until now been hard to serve. This new data can bring about powerful reform to an outdated system that's quite simply not fit for purpose in modern India. Becoming more digital and less physical will keep the real estate market alive and the rental community safe, especially after COVID. Bringing transparency to the process and losing the black market mindset will yield benefits for every party involved. A modern rental sector will empower talent and social mobility through free movement, and brain drain will be reduced as many people move away due to rigid living circumstances. Let's be quite clear, India has a distinct advantage because there aren't big letting agents in the residential market, which allows direct access to it. Right now, government has the chance to change global perceptions by making reforms to the rental sector. Reforms would make a clear statement to other global powers about India's place in the world today, firmly in the centre stage. So how are other Asian countries handling the digital transformation of property rental? And how does India compare? Well, there are 548 PropTech companies in Asia, but India leads the way with 170 of them. That's not surprising when you consider that India's real estate industry is expected to be worth $1 trillion by the end of the coming decade. China has 144 PropTech companies and is quickly demonstrating its ability to pioneer cutting-edge real estate tech. China's not just working on the usual suspects like platforms and machine learning, but it's also prolific in IoT and smart cities work, where other regions continue to show reluctance. Singapore has 84 PropTech companies currently and is the Asian nation with the most PropTech hype. However, in reality, it's unclear just how much of the process is digitized beyond viewings. And in fact, our internal research shows that many of the portals have digitized small elements of the process and not the entire thing. True digital transformation demands that the whole process be covered over the next 5 to 10 years. Asia will rise to an equal footing with Europe and North America as leaders in the PropTech world. India needs to focus on backing genuine, holistic digital transformation in order to fully realise the wide-ranging benefits of a modern property rental sector. Tech-enabled solutions increase investment and attract high-skilled talent. If India does not commit to transforming the rental sector, then, quite simply, its people and its economy will suffer. If that's not reason enough to get behind digital transformation, I don't know what is. In a rapidly growing market like India's, technology is king. This is why, to build the connection between the landlord, the property manager, and the tenant, there needs to be a platform that centralises and streamlines everything. The audits, the updates, the actions that need executing, when and by whom. A platform like that gives complete transparency of everything that is happening with the property from every stakeholder's perspective. More manual work means more staff, but technology can help to control staffing levels even as demand increases. As the real estate sector grows, good management will become essential, not optional. With over 25 years' experience in pioneering PropTech, Propiti's executives have the passion and the capability to deliver cutting-edge innovation at scale. With operations in India and the United Kingdom, we have both an in-depth knowledge of the Indian rental market and experience of operating at scale with the biggest operators in the UK rental market. Our technology is tried and tested, with our delighted clients working in partnership with us for the long term. Our biggest client has been with us for more than 12 years, which is a clear endorsement of our ability to deliver and to provide solutions at the cutting edge of technology on an ongoing basis. So how can we help stakeholders to capitalise on the opportunities in the Indian real estate market? The question is, how quickly do the government, portal owners, developers and investors want to take advantage of the mammoth opportunity that the rental sector offers? Well, that will come down to who they decide to partner with. Established PropTech teams with the track record to hit the ground running will be the right choice for ambitious organisations looking to capitalise on the opportunities from the outset.